This is Behind the Curtain IMO, and I'm Betsy Jordan. There's been a rise in extremism in this country. I've been trying to point out where some of these outrageous things that are coming out of Trump's mouth, where they originated, to see if where there's smoke, there's fire. But where there's smoke and mirrors. So I can point out the smoke of extremism, right? It's creating an otherness, like we're special, you're not. We belong to the group, you don't. Because you don't belong to the group, you threaten our way of life. Therefore, we're polarized, and then we're so afraid you're going to take over our way of life because that fear has been stoked, because you're believing that immigrants are just murderers, and immigrants are thieves, and immigrants are this, and immigrants are that. Immigrants are taking our jobs. Immigrants are killing our people. Immigrants are raping our wives and daughters. And I mean, that's not the truth. In fact, there are more jobs. We need to place people with employment. We need a firmer path to citizenship. We also need the tamping down or elimination, if we could, of extremism. Now, that does not mean I'm talking about eliminating people. We have the facts, which are white supremacists. When they riot, it 9 times out of 10 leads to fatalities. When liberal extremists or liberal causes are being protested, like Black Lives Matter, there's damage to property. That's the distinction. There's a different timbre of the message. The message from white supremacists is, I'm going to kill you. It's very intimidating, very threatening, very hateful. The message from Black Lives Matter is, we want you to understand we matter, and so we're going to hit your pocketbook, because that's what seems to matter to you. In 2020, when there were different protests going right by my door on North 16th Street in DC, if I could have recorded it, the timbre, just the sound of the groups, was very, very different. So when Trump tells you that we have more to fear from within than from China or Russia, he's taking a little factoid and blowing it up to suit his purposes, to stoke everyone's fear. Now, I believe we can talk about our differences. I do not believe that the immigrant population is threatening a certain way of life. I do not believe that anyone is more special than the other person. We may have different life experiences that mean we've had more experience in a certain area than another person. We may have had an education that has meant that we have been studying a topic that is very interesting to us, and therefore we have an expertise in it. We may have been born with a superior intellect or talent in a certain thing, and those distinguish us. But our basic human beingness is the same. It's the idea that someone else is trying to take something from me that makes me angry, and therefore I want to fight. That is the enemy within. The biggest threat to the country right now is extremism, and it's the deciding that I am different from others and my very livelihood is threatened, and therefore I must fight the other. Let's focus on how we are similar rather than how we are different. There's been a rise in extremism in this country, and normal human beings. It's not just people who have mental illness. I suggest to everyone that they take a look at Elizabeth Newman's book, Kingdom of Rage. Elizabeth worked with Homeland Security during the Trump administration. Elizabeth was active in evangelical Christian church. She was also active in the Republican Party, and she believes her party has left her. And she has some very cogent, very well-researched ways of looking at the rise of extremism in the country. And she's speaking out so to save our country from having the kind of insurgency and attack on it that we had January 6th. You might want to take a look at that book. It's also an audiobook. It's called The Kingdom of Rage. the rise in extremism in America. This is Behind the Curtain, IMO. Thank you for being here.